Let's look at simplifying algebraic fractions. The approach to simplifying algebraic fractions involves factorizing both the numerator and denominator as much as possible using techniques such as factorizing quadratics, the difference of two squares, and just general factorization to then simplify the fraction by cancelling. The first example says to simplify x squared minus 2x minus 3 over 4x minus 12. So to begin with, we'll start with the numerator, which is a quadratic, and so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make minus 3 and add to make minus 2. Those two numbers are minus 3 and 1, and so this fraction can be simplified to x minus 3 brackets x plus 1 in the numerator, and in our denominator we see that 4x and minus 12 have a highest common factor of 4, and so if we factorize the 4 out from both terms, we end up with 4 and then brackets x minus 3. Now looking at both the numerator and denominator, we see that both have a common factor of x minus 3, and so if we cancel out this factor, we end up with a final answer of x plus 1 over 4 as our simplified version of this first algebraic fraction. The second example is to simplify 2y squared minus 50 over 15 minus 3y multiplied by 6 over y plus 5. So starting with the first fraction, we see that in the numerator, both terms, 2y squared and minus 50, have a highest common factor of 2. So factorizing the 2 out leaves us with 2 brackets y squared minus 25, and in the denominator, we see that both terms have a highest common factor of 3. So factorizing the 3 out gives us 3 and then brackets 5 minus y. And then the second fraction cannot be simplified any further, so we can add that on as multiplying by 6 over y plus 5. We can now simplify these fractions further because in the numerator we have y squared minus 25, which is in the form of the difference of two squares. And so we can write this now as 2 and then brackets y plus 5 and brackets y minus 5. And in the denominator of this fraction, we have 3. And now because we have 5 minus y, if we factorize a minus 1 out, and so writing this as minus 3 now, we would then end up with minus 5 plus y, which is the same as writing y minus 5. And since the second fraction is completely simplified, we can now write on multiplied by 6 over y plus 5. If we were to combine the two fractions, we would now end up with the following. So 2 times 6, which would give us 12, and then the two brackets in the numerator remaining the same, so y plus 5 and y minus 5. And in the denominator, we have minus 3, and then in brackets, y minus 5, and we're also multiplying by y plus 5, and so we can write that in brackets. Now looking at common factors to cancel in both the numerator and denominator, we see that we have y plus 5 in the numerator and denominator, which cancels, as well as y minus 5 in the numerator and denominator, which cancels, which leaves us with 12 divided by minus 3, which is equal to minus 4. The third example is to simplify 2x squared plus 9x plus 4 all over x squared minus 16 multiplied by x squared minus 5x plus 4. Again, we start by factorizing as much as possible and then cancelling where appropriate. So beginning with the numerator, we have 2x squared plus 9x plus 4, which is a quadratic. And so to factorize this quadratic, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 2 times 4, which is 8, and two numbers that add to make 9. These two numbers are 8 and 1. Quadratic in the numerator becomes 2x squared plus 8x plus x plus 4. And so we factorize by grouping, which involves looking at the first two terms and factorizing by looking at the highest common factor. So the highest common factor in this case is 2x, and so we have 2x brackets x plus 4, and then looking at the final two terms, we have a highest common factor of 1, and so we have plus 1 and then in brackets x plus 4. We now look at the highest common factor, which in this case is x plus 4, And so factorizing this out gives us in brackets x plus 4, and we're multiplying by 2x and then plus 1. If we also factorize the quadratic on the end here, we have x squared minus 5x plus 4. And so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 4 and two numbers that add to make minus 5. These two numbers are minus 4 and minus 1. And so the quadratic factorizes into x minus 4 in brackets and x minus 1 in brackets. Now going back to the question and using our factorized versions, we now have that the fraction at the beginning becomes x plus 4, and in brackets we also have 2x plus 1 in the numerator. We see that in the denominator we have x squared minus 16, which is in the form of the difference of two squares. And so factorizing this gives us x plus 4 in brackets and x minus 4 in brackets. And then we also factorize the quadratic on the end here, and so we're multiplying by x minus 4 and x minus 1. Now looking at common terms to cancel, we see that in the numerator we have x plus 4, and in the denominator we also have x plus 4, so both of these cancel. We also have that we're dividing by x minus 4, and we're also multiplying by x minus 4. And so because they are inverses, then these two cancel as well. And so we are finally left with 2x plus 1 in brackets and x minus 1 in brackets. Now starting with the numerator in the first fraction, we see that all three terms have a highest common factor of 2. And so factorizing the 2 out, we end up with 2 brackets x squared plus 4x plus 4. And in the denominator we have y plus 2 and y minus 3. And in the second fraction, since we are dividing, this is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal of this fraction. And so we can now write this as multiplying by, so the denominator now becomes the numerator, which gives us 46y plus 23y squared, and the numerator becomes the denominator, which gives us 2x squared minus 8 in the denominator. Now in the numerator of the first fraction we have a quadratic, which is x squared plus 4x plus 4. And so if we try and factorize that quadratic, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 4 and two numbers that add to make 4. These two numbers are 2 and 2, and so the numerator can now be written as 2 and then in brackets x plus 2 and in brackets x plus 2, and the denominator stays exactly the same, so that's y plus 2 in brackets and y minus 3. And the second fraction, we can factorize the highest common factor, which in this case is 23y. And so factorizing 23y out leaves us in brackets with 2 plus y, and the denominator we can factorize a 2 out from both of these terms, which gives us 2 and in brackets x squared minus 4. Now at this stage we can begin cancelling. Because we're multiplying the two fractions, effectively we can write this as one single fraction. And so dealing with this, we have a 2 in the numerator and a 2 in the denominator, which both cancel. We also have 2 plus y, which is the same as y plus 2, and that can cancel with the y plus 2 in the denominator here. And so these two cancel. And then finally, we can now simplify further the denominator in the second fraction, which is x squared minus 4. This is the difference of two squares, and so this can be written in the following way. So our first fraction is x plus 2 multiplied by x plus 2 all over y minus 3. Our second fraction is 23y, and the denominator is the difference of two squares, which can be written as x plus 2 in brackets and x minus 2 in brackets. And so cancelling further, we have x plus 2 in the numerator and x plus 2 in the denominator, so both terms cancel, and so we're left with x plus 2 over y minus 3 multiplied by 23y over x minus 2. Now, since there are no other terms that we can cancel, we can finally write this as x plus 2 in brackets multiplied by 23y, and so writing that in front, all over y minus 3 in brackets multiplied by x minus 2. And this would be our final answer for this example.